Hey, how we doing, folks? How we doing? How we doing? How are we doing tonight? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in, folks. Come on in. There's my guy right there. First off, Bolo, how are you doing tonight, sir? Outstanding. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us on YouTube tonight. Willie Gooding is watching on, I think that's Facebook. Hey, welcome, everybody. Welcome. C1s, how are you doing tonight? Folks, you're going to have to excuse me somehow or another. I caught a bug over the weekend, and it is working its way through me tonight. It has been on me ever since I got home, so bear with me. And I know my voice is nasally, so we're gonna make it happen. Hey, what's going on, Hardhead? Hardhead, I don't know if you in Japan or if you back in San Diego, but welcome, my brother. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. Let me shout out some names right quick. We got A Boogie on. How are you doing, A Boogie? Happy birthday to Allison, my bestie. Happy birthday, A Boogie. That's right. How you doing, Dennis Jordan? Howdy, sir. The Bells. Come on in, folks. Come on in. I'm happy to see you. Join us tonight. Greg Oy, how you doing, sir, on YouTube? Everybody on YouTube, thank you. Comment. Just give me a thumbs up. I'd greatly appreciate it. Crowbar, how are you doing tonight, sir? Appreciate all the support you've been giving me with the podcast. Folks, we're going to go ahead and bring my co-host in tonight. Royalty, how are you doing tonight, Royalty?
I'm fine. How are you doing? I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. I need another hot toddy.
Hey,
I'm
good
telling
for
you,
your
man.
body.
I'm
Good for
trying
your
to,
body.
I'm trying to tell you. Oh, man.
You
That's
feeling
right.
better?
I'm feeling a little bit better. I kind of rested, took my time. I was supposed to cut grass today, but I didn't cut the grass today. So I said, you know what? I just want to just rest a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
give it my best tonight. And but I know you got me though. I know you got me.
Yes, I got you. I got you. I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna try my best.
Hey, folks, we're gonna have a good time tonight. But we got a serious topic tonight. Self-love. Our guest tonight is Dawn Tenacious Phillips, and she is a three-time author. She's a super motorcycle enthusiast and inspirer. She actually came up with the idea of the Men and Women Who Love to Ride event that was at Ocean Shore this weekend, which was outstanding. My hat off to those board members up there who put that on. And once again, I just been saying, hey, I appreciate you just giving me the invite to come up.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to just take this time to share the platform with Dawn and let her share her experiences and her journey. Because, folks, I'm telling you, I thought I've had my hiccups. I thought I've been through
Mm,
it. She's been through it.
yes, but
She's
she's still here, and she's
she's
still
still here.
riding,
And
and
she's
she's
still
still
right.
riding.
Just rolled back from Colorado.
Yes.
Straight to, come on now.
No.
I already know what it was like out there in Colorado at this time of the year. Hey, but
Just without further ado, without further ado, bring her in. Bring her in. Bring her
we're
in.
gonna go ahead and bring you in, dog. How are you? Because this we can
Hey.
go on and on and on.
We could go
Oh,
on and on about the strength you have. The
I love it.
strength. Woo.
I love it. I love it. How are you this evening, Dawn?
I'm really good. I sometimes I don't know where the strength come from, but it always shows up right on time. So I
Yes,
can't
yes,
complain.
yes. Definitely, definitely, definitely. But before we get into it, I'm gonna go ahead and have my co-host introduce yourself to the audience tonight so they can get a feel of who you are. Who is this lady?
Don Tenacious Phillips, aka will always be white chocolate to me. Um, I've known Don's. Gosh, we met 2013 at the Kingdom Nights bike blessing. And from day one, she's been my girl. She's been my sister. She's been my friend. Um, the strength that this woman has, that I've seen her go through, that I don't even know if I could have gone through what she's gone through, and she's still riding. Just the stuff she gives back to everybody. She's quiet. She's
Right.
very quiet, but if you reach out to her, she's there for you. She's a good mentor. I watched her take Kishan, I think I'm pronouncing her name correctly, underneath her wing. She was a new rider. And to watch that young lady grow. And when I
Right.
saw her go travel by herself, I was like, yep, she did that. She did
Right.
that. The
Right.
great mentorship right there. So, um, y'all in for a treat. Y'all in for a treat.
All right. All right. All right. Well, without further ado, Don, we're going to go ahead and just let you fully introduce yourself
Yes.
because your bio is yay long.
Okay. So I am Dawn. I have been white chocolate for many years, and I can't seem to get away from it. So, now that I'm back on the East Coast and I'm around the biker family that I love and have missed so much, since I've been gone for the last 3 years. But I've been, riding for 14, 15 years now. I've had 4 different bikes. So I started out on a Kawasaki Ninja and decided very quickly that I wanted to be a distance rider. And so, because I rode my sports bike to Myrtle Beach and said, I will never do that again in life. It hurt my back and my legs and everything. And so, then I went to the cruiser life. And
So you went to the
so,
cruiser life, huh?
Yes, there it
yeah,
is.
there's my baby that I
Yes.
thought that was so cool. I first started riding. I'm like, yeah, it's stretched, and it's got the rims that match the color. And so,
Right,
but
right,
that didn't
right.
last long.
Yes.
The comfort was not there. So, but yeah, that's kind of the baby that I really, got my feet wet as far as my riding experience. And, it didn't last long. I don't think I had that bike for more than a year. And then I went to my street glide
Hmm.
and only had my street glide for about 5 months. And then I was in an accident. So, very short-lived experience with that bike. I can go into that a little bit later in further detail. But yeah, I mean, I knew early on that I was going to be a distance rider. I love being on a motorcycle and being out, on the open road. So that's kind of a little bit of a background as far as my whole family. My dad rode, my mom rode, my brother rode. So,
Right.
I guess it was kind of in the family. And I rode on the back of motorcycles, in high school. So yeah.
So
Okay.
that first, second, third generation rider,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's nice.
Yeah.
And when we're so used to each other now, we kind of don't even go that far back or say, when did you start riding? How did you start
Yeah.
riding? Are you a first, second, third generation rider?
Mm-hmm.
But that is pretty awesome from a female perspective. A daughter.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
My
Yeah.
dad actually, when I was very young, he would tie me onto around his waist, and so I would actually be on with a rope, and I could wrap my arms.
That
I
was
wrapped
back
my
in the
arms as far as I could around his waist, and that's where it all began, and it
Right,
just kind
right,
of
right.
blossomed from
wow.
there.
Right, right, right. Good. Hey, I want to send a big shout out to Big Sarge of Iron Elite Podcast. Shout out to him. Shout out to Retro. Shout out to all those guys who shout me out. Hey, I greatly appreciate you guys tuning in tonight, man. Much love, much love. Ballhead Nasty Dahuru MC. Good evening, my brother. Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. I have to give those plugs out because these people right
Oh,
here
most
work the
definitely.
podcast. You know that's right.
Most definitely.
Most definitely. But
Much
Don, listen.
respect.
I know you are employed with the federal government.
I am. I have actually moved around quite a bit in the federal government, but I've had 38 continuous years of service. Uh,
Mhm.
Eligible to retire next year. Not really sure if I'm going to. I landed a really good position here since I relocated to Gaithersburg. So I may stick it out for a few more years. We'll have to see how I feel after when next year comes around when I'm actually eligible to retire. So
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
yeah, started right out of high school.
Right.
Yeah, so it was the best career move I could have made.
Nice, nice. I
Yeah.
definitely want to just give that plug and that shout out to you. So we're gonna go right into this episode. The first thing I want to talk about is you being a published author. You've written 3
Yes.
books, right?
I have, yes.
Could you please
So
give us the name of those books?
the first one was Your Voice, Your Choice, Free from
Mhm,
Past Pain.
mhm.
That was a moment of closure for me based on many years of being a domestic violence victim.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I'll never forget, it was actually, it was in February of 2019 when I wrote that. And we were actually, we were furloughed at the time with the government. And, something just kept telling me, write the book, write the book. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to write the book because I love to write. Literally sat there with my laptop and I wrote that book in 7 days.
Wow.
It just flowed out of me like you would not believe. And like to actually have experienced putting my truth on paper was a very healing and freeing experience for me. I can talk about it. Yeah. I mean, I used to cry a lot, but now I'm good. It was almost just like I closed that chapter of my life and, it was just the best thing that I could have did at that particular time. So that was my first book. And then I decided to put together the self-love workbook. And
okay.
Yep, there it is.
Hold that right there. There you go.
I got the book. I got it. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I have it.
Hey, folks, you can find that. You can find that book on YouTube. Not YouTube, but you can find that book on Amazon. Make sure you go check it out. It's a great read. I kind of skimmed it a little bit before the show, so definitely go check her out, support her, and you will be inspired, and it may get you through some tough times as well.
Yes, it's a very good book. Very good.
Yeah, and I really started to focus on self-love, more so based on past relationships and things of that nature. And I'm pretty much an open book. I do not mind sharing my experiences because I know that the reason why I experienced some of the things that I did in life is to help other people either cope, help them get through, help them maybe see some of the mistakes that I made that maybe they could avoid making. And so I think, men can benefit from the book, but I think women in particular, we really don't take the time to love ourselves. We put so much love into everybody else that we put ourselves on the back burner, and so the workbook, it's an interactive workbook. And so it's really thought provoking. There's exercises within the workbook that really make you think about your life, and think about things that you do, and things that you say, and, things that you could do differently. So I didn't want it to just be a read. I wanted it to be kind of like an interactive, I want to make you think about where you are in life right now, where you would like to be, and then possibly use some of the things within the workbook to kind of get you where you want to go.
Okay.
So that was the self-love workbook. And then I co-authored a book about my writing experience. And there was six authors total on that collaboration. And so that kind of gave me a little bit of an opportunity to kind of share my story, which I kind of just shared, like where I started, how I gradually progressed within the motorcycle community, my writing progressed, and things of that nature. And so I kind of talked about the iron butt challenges that I completed. I just talked about different accomplishments. I've had many things that I've felt honored, in terms of having a Ground Pounder of the Year award and, completing the lower 48 states. And then I've done Mexico, I've done Canada, was supposed to do Alaska this year, but life happened. And so hopefully I'll be able to do that next year. For me, it's never really been about the accolades. It's never really been, I compete with myself. I don't compete with.
That's what I was about to ask you. I was about to ask you that question.
I have my set of goals, and I have things that I want to accomplish, but it's never, unless I'm in a mileage challenge, where I have competitive, and I do have a competitive side, but Yeah, for the most part, it's just always been about just getting out there and exploring. And I'm telling you, when I was out in Colorado, that was a whole different world to me. I mean, it's just so different than the East Coast. I mean, every road that you took out there was just amazing, and I was so close to the different states, that on the weekend I could just ride to Vegas, if I wanted to, or ride to, the Four Corners Monument, or ride, just about anywhere. So, I will definitely miss that aspect of Colorado.
As a matter of fact, we had a question come in. Not to say a question, but Anthony Osborne, Mr. 100,000 miles in a year, true BBG legend, IBA legend, was wanting to hear a little bit about that Colorado riding. Before we dive into your legacy, into your journey, just kind of give him a little bit of taste of it. I'm sure he's been there, but he would love to hear a little bit from you.
It's amazing. So there's 70. I traveled 70 a lot. 70 straight through Utah, and into Nevada. There was plenty of back roads. 285 was another route that you could take that literally took you down into Buena Vista and things of that nature, like where the hot springs were. Lots of just the San Juan National Forest was amazing. I mean, there's national forests out there that are incredible. Lots of curves. I mean, I love curves, and riding through the mountains and the streams, and just it's beautiful. And you don't even really have to have a particular destination. A lot of times I would just get out on a Saturday and just go. As long as I knew how to get back home, I didn't care where I ended up. So
my main question is the window of riding, because the weather, Colorado, Amarillo, weather would drop down to Amarillo, and I got snowed on in October one year real bad when I was going to Vegas. And I mean, it came out of nowhere. So I know that window of riding up there, and then too, even during the summer months, it still get a little chill up there, because I camped up there one time, and we were supposed to be doing a Pence and Twos camp out up there.
Yes. I know. I'm so upset that didn't happen. The window, it's funny because I tell people that in Colorado, well, where I was in Lakewood, so I was right outside of Denver. I could see the mountains from where I lived, but I didn't live like in the mountain range, so to speak, like Boulder, and places like that. But I did experience one ride where I rode out to California, and as I came back, I got stuck in Utah. My bike was covered with snow and ice. And then the ride, continuing the ride was horrible, going through Vail and Aspen, and just, the snow coming down sideways. There's no guardrails. So I would say the window, you still have a pretty decent window to ride. But it's definitely not year round, and it's definitely iffy because, 1 year, like you said, it could be June and it could snow.
Right.
You don't know in Colorado. So
that's what I was about to ask. I said that weather is tricky. One, because my nephew lives out there in Colorado. So one minute he'll call, he'll be like, "Oh, it just snowed." I was like, "What do you mean it just snowed? It what?" And he goes, "Oh, it's gone." And I'm like, "Okay, that's a little different out there." And what about the air quality? The air quality here, and then when you go up there, did your body have to adjust to?
Yes.
Okay.
It took me about 4 months to get acclimated to the elevation, and I would get sick and just throw up out of nowhere, or I would get dizzy, and I'd have trouble breathing, like it felt like really heavy on my chest. And so that was something that I struggled with when I first moved out there. So the weather, it's if it's 50 degrees in Colorado, it feels like 70, if that makes any sense. It's kind of weird to say that because everybody thinks that, Colorado, it's just all snow, but it's really not. It's not all snow.
Right. Okay. Shout out to my brother Chili Sauce out there in San Diego tuning in. I'm working my way out, folks. I'm working my way out, but I got to turn this thing over to Dawn because her legacy, her journey is incredible. And not only has she has one motorcycle accident, she has survived two motorcycle accidents, and we're going to get into that as well because life is full of accidents. How we recover
Whew.
is what will define us. Dawn.
Yes. So this was my first solo ride. I was so nervous to make this ride, but I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I felt pretty confident, in my ability to I was just going to go down 95, straight down 95 to Savannah to see my boys, my sons.
Right.
And everything was going great. I was checking in on Facebook, everybody was kind of, keeping up with my little journey because like I said, I was by myself, first time. And it was right in Lumberton and traffic has started to slow down. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to pull off, got something to eat, and then got back on. And I was in the left lane and proceeded to go. A traffic started stopping again. I saw brake lights. That's the last thing I remember. I heard tires screeching. And I remember feeling like I was in the Matrix because I was like up in the air and I watched my bike just go forward and just start tumbling in front of me. And when I landed, I don't know what happened. My vision wasn't really clear, but when I finally stopped sliding and, tumbling, I was on my stomach and my vision became clear again. And so I rolled over on my back. And that's when I realized that a girl had hit me from behind at 60 miles an hour. It wasn't just a light tap. It was a slam. Yeah. My backrest was completely bent. My rim was completely bent in. My saddlebags came off the bike. You see the picture there. So of course, I was laying there. I had no idea what my injuries were at the time. People wouldn't let me move and things of that nature. And so I was airlifted to some hospital in North Carolina. I can't remember what it was. And I'm very, very fortunate that I had a concussion. I had a hole in my elbow. I had a lot of road rash on my back because I had just took my leather jacket off prior to the accident. I did have chaps on, but I ended up getting road rash on my butt cheek.
Ooh, yeah. I remember that like nothing because I was able to call her for some strange reason. She answered her phone. And that's all I said. I was like, where are you going? And she said, airlifted. And I was like, I got your family. So I started reaching out to her kids and say, hey, this is where your mom is, boom, 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 just to get them started so they can know where to look for her instead of not knowing where to go. But she had just posted and I just said something onto her, like, good job, proud of you, keep it moving. Then to look and see that, I'm like, just that fast. It just happened. And I was like, that was nothing but God that kept her together and safe like that. And, and she's still riding. Think about it. That's her first solo trip by herself. And then she gets, she has this.
And that's what I say, how it defines you. You know what I'm saying? You didn't get off, you got back on. And that's the element right there.
It was, I'm not even gonna lie. It was very, very scary. The first time that, I got back on, because I was out of work for like 4 months, had back issues and things of that nature. But again, no internal bleeding, no broken bones. Like it was just such a blessing. And then when I was ready, that's when I got my Heritage Softail. And I felt like, that was the bike for me. I felt like I went too big. And so I scaled back a little bit. And I love that Softail. I rode the hell out of that Softail. I even rode it cross country. And but then, I just kind of outgrew it, and so then I ended up on the Road Glide. And, I'm on my second Road Glide, right now. So I felt like I needed to get back on. And Laverne Keys is the one who met me at Fort Washington Harley.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually escorted me from there to my house because I didn't want to ride home by myself. I was really kind of nervous about getting on 270, 495, getting back on the highway. Yep. I wanted to have somebody ride behind me because that was my fear, and for a while when I was riding, it triggered me when I saw brake lights in front of me. And it was like a long time before I got over that, because it was just as soon as I saw the brake lights, I would tense up. And I always made sure that somebody was riding behind me, for the longest time. But that accident was insane. I mean, the girl was on the phone, she was texting and driving, wasn't paying attention, and that wasn't her first incident. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that picture, it was crazy because it was Memorial Day weekend.
Yep.
And people were coming back in the opposite direction from I guess the bike week. And so Steve G Money, I can't remember, Goodson. I'm sorry if I'm saying his name wrong.
I know you talked about, Steve Goodson. Yes. Yep.
Him and his crew, they made a U-turn and they came back where I was, and they walked over to make sure that I was good. And then they were, they took a couple of pictures, but I really appreciated the fact that they took the time to, even loop back around and they knew the bike, so they knew who it was, and wanted to make sure that I was okay. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Well, look.
I have a question. I have some people asking about it was Lumberton, North Carolina, correct?
Yes.
And your last book, the ones that you co-wrote with 6 other people, some people asking about the name of that book as well.
Oh, it's called Earned and Not Given.
Okay.
Earned and Not Given.
Earned and Not Given.
That's on Amazon as well?
It is. Yes.
Yes.
It is.
Okay. So make sure you go over there and support folks. This is what the motorcycle set is supposed to be about, supporting each other. And when one of us steps outside of the norm, don't pull them down, don't tear them down, support them, because they're representing for all of us. Because at one point in time, we're all going to go through it. Going down, incidents that happen on the set, life challenges, and we should reference things that we can relate to get us there. It's like almost like the Holy Bible, you know what I'm saying? You can reference it because that's what we live. She lived it, and so to hear somebody else go through it, how did you deal with this? Now we haven't even gotten into the latest.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, because I asked myself, I'm like, would I be able to go through this and come out the other side with the same inspiration, motivation, being positive about it? I mean, come on, folks. I mean, you really have to just ask yourself. Some of the stuff is pretty amazing.
And then support other people and try to be, to encourage other people to go through, to get back on the bike and stuff while she's dealing with her stuff. And, how do you deal with your psyche sometimes, getting yourself together? Because you can look good from the outside, but on the inside, how do you deal with that to make yourself to keep going, pushing yourself to go forward?
So to be completely transparent, after this accident that I had September 28th, I was in my car. So it was not on the motorcycle this time. I was actually on my way to do an overnight dog sitting gig, and I had stopped to get a phone charger for my phone that I forgot. And of course, I didn't put my seatbelt back on. And as soon as I got back on Route 6, my car just immediately shot over to the left. I didn't understand what was going on. It flipped. And as a result of it flipping, yes, there's my Jeep. I had to be cut out of the Jeep. And again, I wasn't really sure what my injuries were. I blacked out for a little bit, I guess, until I was able to, notice that the airbags and things like that released in there. and, went to the hospital and found out that I had 3 fractures in my spine. I had multiple fractured ribs. I had multiple contusions on my thigh, up on my chest, and I had a fractured finger on my left hand. Thank God I didn't have to have any surgery, but I did have to wear a brace for 4 months, and I had to go regularly to a neurologist to make sure that the spine was healing correctly. The finger did not heal properly, so it was just the fingertip that actually was bent. And so I met with a surgeon and I elected to have a joint fusion performed on the finger, which was just supposed to be a screw placed in there to straighten it up. The doctor went in and broke my bone. He actually crushed my bone and tried to piece it back together with wires. So the wires were like crisscrossed, almost like in an asterisk shape. And, it was covered up. And so I didn't get to see it until 7 days later. But the day after my surgery, I was in excruciating pain. It felt like I had a heartbeat in my finger. And I kept asking, this is not normal. Why is this hurting so bad? By the time I went for my appointment 7 days later and they unwrapped it, my fingertip was completely black. It basically, there was no circulation. The circulation was cut off. So they put me on a rigorous dose of antibiotics, 2,000 milligrams a day for 30 days, trying to make sure that, I guess basically they were trying to prevent infection. It got infected. And by the time I got December 24th, Christmas Eve, I was literally going, those pictures are actually pretty good compared to what it looked like. But, you guys don't want to see it.
I had to go through and kind of make sure.
It's like, ooh, that's a little bit too much. Woo.
Yeah, but as you can see from the picture, basically how he shaved it down, it was already the same size as my pinky. And so when they removed the infected portion, because the infection had gotten into my bone, and could have, eventually gotten into my bloodstream.
Yeah.
I was left with, the portion of finger that I have now. That was very, very traumatizing to me. That's probably the most traumatizing experience I've been through in my entire life. I'm left-handed. It's my dominant hand. So I had to learn how to hold a pen. I had to figure out how to hold a utensil, even tying my shoe, curling my hair, brushing my hair. People think, oh, it's just a fingertip. No, it's more than just a fingertip.
Yeah.
It's had a huge impact on me. And so I found myself going down a really dark hole. I'm not even going to lie. The S that I felt like I was wearing on my chest was not there. I felt like I was very isolated, because I was in Colorado pretty much by myself. I lived with a roommate for a couple of years. And so it was really difficult not having any family around, not having any close friends around. And so I found myself almost getting depressed, almost to the point where I was like, I don't know what to do. And so it was kind of like I had 3 surgeries, when I lived in Colorado, and they were major surgeries. And so, I had my divorce in Colorado. It was just almost like Colorado was just really doing me a disservice. And I remember after the accident, just kind of laying in the bed and just, kind of having a pity party with myself. And one of my girls, Stacy, Foxy in Texas, she reached out to me and she let me vent. She let me cry. She let me get everything out of my system. And she said, all right, are you good? I said, I'm good.
Yep.
And ever since then, it was like the light bulb went off, and I was like, you know what? I have so much to be thankful for.
Yes, you do.
This is just another bump in the road. Yes, I'm going to have to get acclimated to having a portion of my finger gone. And at first it was a little weird because I didn't want people looking at it. That I was very self-conscious about the way it looked. But it's me. It's the new dawn. It's who I am. It's not going to change. And so I was really nervous about this ride that I just took from Colorado because I hadn't gotten on a motorcycle since before my accident.
That's what I was about to ask you. How does it affect your riding?
So yeah. So last year, and I missed the ride to eat last year too, because
Wait a minute. Hold up.
I knew it was coming.
I don't even know why. I was so looking forward to that. But yeah, so I hadn't rode in a while, and I mean I've been riding for years, and so I thought, okay, so I got, I did occupational therapy. I did physical therapy. I have the home things that were a gift to me. So I was able to, just do the exercises to strengthen and do the hip, the fist, because I didn't really have my pinky and my middle finger were also affected, by the amputation. And so I thought, okay, I'm good. I can make a fist. And then, of course, I had my gallbladder removed, like 4 weeks ago. And that, I swear, I was like,
my God, girl.
Yeah. So it was like, major car accident, gallbladder, amputation, like, okay, what else, So I thought to myself, I said, you know what? I got a really good price on an one-way airline ticket to Denver, right? And I said, I'm going to ride my bike home. I was like, I haven't rode in a while. I don't know how my body's going to feel. With me having the gallbladder removed, I was worried about fatigue. I was worried about the hand, hurting. But I was like, you know what? I was trusting my gut, and I would never put myself in harm's way. I would never get on my motorcycle if I wasn't physically and mentally prepared for the ride.
Yeah.
There were some people that were very concerned about me being out there by myself. And I said, I'm good. I've got people tracking me on Life 360. Right. I'm checking in, taking breaks, and things like that. So it did hurt. It hurt my finger. It hurt my hand. It wasn't that bad. So what I was trying to do is I was trying to adjust to just using my 2 fingers and my thumb when I was pulling my clutch in. That didn't necessarily work. So then I was like, okay, well, I still have to incorporate the pinky, but then I was trying not to crush the amputated finger within, the other 2 fingers. So it was a little challenging. But it really wasn't bad. And I started hydrating like 10 days before the trip. So I felt really good. I wasn't tired until on Friday, but that's because I had only had like 2 hours of sleep on Thursday night. And then I got up and rode like 17 hours, from Indiana. I think I stopped in Indiana on Thursday night. And so I rode from Indiana, swung past Baltimore to pick up Keeson, and then we rode straight to Ocean City. So by the time I got to Ocean City, I was ready to pass out. So
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Perseverance.
Yes, without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Yes. Key.
If you are just tuning in tonight, folks, we're talking with Dawn Tenacious Phillips, and we're hearing her inspiring story, her journey, her life journey. 3-time author, survivor of multiple motorcycle accidents, a Jeep rollover, gallbladder removal, but she's still
still pushing.
She still pushing. She still has a passion. She just rode from Colorado. And what was the temperature when you left Colorado?
I know 30. It was like 30 some degrees.
Yes,
when I left Colorado.
30 something degrees. Now I know. I know Colorado. And man, I tell you, to sit there and say, I'm gonna take off from Colorado and I'm gonna ride to the East Coast. How many days did it take you? 2 or 3 days?
2.5, yeah.
Okay.
You were moving.
Yeah, she was flying. She was flying.
Uh-uh.
KSolo, I know you're not talking about moving, but
KSolo said you moving. You
she
were moving.
moving. She was moving.
Shit.
She was doing her speed limit.
Shit. Oh my goodness. Oh
She
my
was doing
goodness.
her own speed limit.
I was on a mission. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I was on a mission, and I was like, you know what? I need to be somewhere by a particular time, and so I paced myself. I didn't overdo it, but I did. I was at a pretty high pace.
Yes.
So yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
You was keeping up with the flow of the traffic.
there you go. There you
That
go.
part.
That
Keeping
part.
up with the flow of the traffic.
Right.
There you go. Kimbo said you are a walking miracle. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Pressure Press says proud to call her my sister. Indeed,
love
we
her.
all are. 'Cause
Yes.
she's RTE family. Now we actually took a trip together a while back before all of this years ago. You put together a ride to the Nordic Lodge.
Yeah, that was kind of hilarious. So I don't know how I managed to get thrown
How do
into
you always?
those
I know.
captain positions. Every time I turn around, I'm leading the ride. So, you
Mhm.
know, I kind of learned to adapt to planning trips, and I love to map them out. You know,
Mhm.
Kisan and I, we did a lot of riding together, and all she had to do was pick up the phone and say, I want to go here. All right, no problem. When I have it mapped out, I'll let you know. We can pick the dates.
Yep.
But I was really nervous, you know, leading the ride to the Nordic Lodge because I had, you know, there was what, 6 of us? And
Yeah.
it was like I wanted to avoid 95 because, you know, going 95 north, you know, with the traffic and everything. So we got on these back roads. It probably took like 12 hours to get there.
It was. But it was good. We was taking the truck routes the long way around because but it was a good ride. Though. It was a good ride, and the food was delicious. We had a great time.
Okay.
So we actually got some miles in together. Not only you RTE family, but you know, like I say, we've gotten some miles in together, which is awesome, and I thoroughly enjoyed you leading that ride. Hey Boots, how are you doing tonight? We just want to thank everybody for tuning in with us tonight.
Yes.
We're gonna take a quick 30-second break, and then we will be right back.
What's going on, y'all? Lincoln Infield here, Carolina's Full Throttle Magazine. Always a proud supporter of KSolo and everything he does, his rides, everything like that. Amazing association, man. I'm proud to be associated. Y'all take it easy. We'll see you around.
I had to give a shout out to my guy over at Full Throttle Magazine, man. He supports me. As a matter of fact, he's got me on his guest list. So anytime Full Throttle Magazine has a bike show, my name is on the guest list, which I'm honored and humble. He supports me throughout all my endeavors, man. Shout out to my guy over there at Full Throttle Magazine. Make sure you pick one up if you're in North Carolina, South Carolina. Full Throttle Magazine, where you can find all your information about bike events going on in the South. All right.
Who done?
I had to catch my breath.
Who done?
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting, but I've thoroughly enjoyed myself, and we're not even done yet. We're not even done. We're still just getting into this.
Yes.
We got comments coming in.
Yes, that's what I was looking at too.
Yes.
There's my girl.
Hello, everybody. There's Kisan. How you doing, girl?
How you doing, Kisan? Yes, definitely.
Hey, Becky. Hey, Tamar.
Everybody's tuning in.
Hey.
Everybody's tuning in. You can, my co-host, you can see other people comments, and I can't. So you go right ahead, shouting them out. I appreciate that.
I'm shouting everybody out that I can see. I see David Bell, of course, on here. Hey, Becky. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much. Hello, Anthony Osborne. Thank you. So, Don, what is next in your future? What you got on your what you trying to do now?
Are we writing another book?
Yes. Where you going?
I know Alaska's still on the list. Of course, the ride to eat. Of course, the ride to eat.
Yes.
I'm gonna make it one time to the ride to eat, but that's my mom's birthday. every, and I'm
Okay.
just like, ugh,
Yeah,
Well,
it's always
I was
personal.
really looking forward to it last year because that was my 55th birthday, and it's always the weekend of my birthday. My
Mhm.
birthday is October 5th, and so
Yep.
I spent my birthday last year in a rehab center,
Uh,
trying to recover. So I have some making up to do at this Ride to Eat this year. I'm telling
all
you, I
right,
will
all
be there.
right, all right. Sure.
But I don't know. I haven't really planned out a lot as far as this year. My rides. I do have a couple of things on the calendar. Now that I have my bike back, I can do some
Have
local
your
stuff.
bike back or a new bike?
Well, I guess it is kind of new. I got that one in July of last year.
Mhm.
So I've put 10,000, almost 11,000 miles on it. So I guess it's still new. Didn't get to ride it a lot, just for
Mhm.
about a couple of months. So definitely want to get some riding in. This year, Keeson and I have already talked about what events we are going to attend because, I always want to get out there and support
Yes.
a lot of the all female ride events.
Right.
Even when I was out in Colorado, they didn't really have a lot out there. But I would make my way to Virginia. I would make my way
Yep.
to North Carolina.
Yep.
I was making my way, to these events, to support these women. And again, for me, it's always about the ride. It's never
Yes.
really about a party, or anything like that. It's like, you know what? It's going to take me 2 days to get there to ride for an hour and then 2 days back. I'm good with that. So, I probably will write another book, just based on some additional experiences that I have, kind of went through the last couple of years. I would say, my time in Colorado in itself is a book, that I could easily write. So, yeah, but it's crazy. I will say this. I engrossed myself into writing, when I got divorced. Writing was my escape from reality. Writing got me through a lot of the, I guess, emotional aspect of, going through that type of life event. And everybody kept telling me, you need to go sit down somewhere. You need to sit down. You're doing too much. And I'm like, no, I'm good. And I mean, literally every weekend I was going somewhere. But then, the accident happened and it forced me to sit down, and it actually forced me to look at my life and look at where I was and look at how unhappy I was. I was avoiding that for a long time. And so after that happened, it really kind of cleared my thought process, and it helped me focus on where I needed to what I needed to do to get where I wanted to be, which is back here closer to my family. And once I had that vision, everything fell into place. I started applying for jobs. I got the job, came out here. I got an apartment right away. I mean, it was just like everything was just aligning, accordingly. But it took for me to just really sit down for a minute because I was so avoiding, like, I was like, you know what? I just want to get on my bike. I just want to ride and everything's good. And that's not always a good thing.
Right. This is a question that I have for you, Dawn, and it's overcoming adversity, overcoming pain, overcoming the loss, overcoming, how you feeling. You feel successful. You have unsuccessful highs, lows. I mean, you deal with this. You know what I'm saying? This. I guess is one of your subject expertise. So, what advice would you give somebody if they say I'm feeling down, or I'm going highs or lows, or I'm like on an emotional roller coaster?
I think that I would say that you have to focus on the positive. And a lot of times that's really hard to do. It's very hard sometimes to find a positive, when you're getting hit left and right, like, two-piece punches, with negative. But you always have to look at, for the silver lining, and just understand that for me, I had to say to myself, I don't think God would give me anything more than what I can handle, and so I also believe that, you do go through trials and tribulations, and that's part of a growth process. And so a lot of times when you do go through things, it's because you're getting ready to elevate to the next level. You may not be able to see that in that particular circumstance, but just know that you're about to level up. And so that's what I would tell somebody, because I'm telling you, I mean, all that stuff that I went through within the last year, it's incredible how I'm so much at peace right now, and I'm so happy at my job, and I'm happy to be around my family and my friends. Like, I'm like a little kid, when I'm going to these bike events and these fish fries, because I'm like, oh, I'm back in my element, and life is good. I can say life is good, and so I would just encourage people and talk about it. Don't bottle it up, because that's what I found myself doing. I was bottling up all those emotions and how I felt until I had that phone call with my girlfriend, and I released and I let go. And after that, it was just like, okay, I can do this. I can deal with this. So everybody always needs somebody. Find somebody that you can confide in, find somebody that, will just listen to you. Like, they don't even have to say anything. Just listen to you. And it's just, it's a wonderful thing.
And it's okay not to be okay.
Absolutely.
It is so okay to say, hey, I need help. And as a woman, we don't tend to do that. We always say, oh, just, we keep pouring from an empty cup. And sometimes we have to take care of us first and get us together. But it's okay to say, hey, I'm not okay today. And it's all right.
Absolutely, because you're not going to be okay every day of your life, and people will tell me all the time, you are so strong. You're the strongest person, the strongest woman I know. And I'm like, really? Because I didn't feel like that. I felt very weak. I felt like I just didn't have my life together, and it was really a bad time for me. And especially, like I said, being out in Colorado and being isolated from everything and everybody that I loved. And so I really had to get myself, I had to get myself back together quickly.
So how did you put that into riding a motorcycle? How did you channel that into riding? How did you channel that to the lifestyle? How do you channel that, say, I'm going to get on my motorcycle, I'm going to ride and just let the wind blow through my hair. I'm just going to make this left turn instead of this right. Instead of just going straight home, I'm going to take the long route. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What inspiration can you give someone to sit and say, embrace that, not just look at it as I'm going to go point A to point B, but embrace it, the freedom that it brings you.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. And again, I was afforded an opportunity out there. There's not a lot of open road here on the East Coast. I mean, there's some, but there's nothing like, being out there and just, get out there and explore. And like you said, don't just go, down the street to the bar, or around the corner to a bike night, get out there on a Saturday. If it's like 70 degrees or whatever the temperature you feel comfortable in riding, like you said, take a left or take a right. I remember one time I went to a traffic light and I'm like, okay, I can go left, I can go straight, or I can go right. And if I went straight, it was going to lead me to Estes Park. I've already been there. I didn't know. The right didn't look too appealing, but I went to the left, and I'm telling you, that was the best ride ever, because it was just curves and it was mountain, and it was just, I had no idea where I was going to end up. But for me, the freedom of the open road and just like you said, the wind in my face, and then it's just your time to just,
talk to yourself
and talk to God, and just, it's that therapeutic time,
That part.
That's what I'm trying
that part. That part right there. That part.
And I don't
that part.
If you don't get out there and explore, and you don't get out there and ride, you'll never experience that. Don't be a point A to point B rider. Try to be a point A somewhere in between, and then to the point B if you can.
Right.
Yeah.
We're into our last 5 minutes of this episode, folks. If you
Mm.
have questions that you want to shoot at Don right now, we're taking questions for this last 5 minutes. Please feel free to do so. Keep it inspirational, just kind of like positive. We would definitely appreciate it. I know I've been on the road a lot of many a nights that the moonlight has just brought me a soothing calmness about me. Uh, Even if it was cold, even if it was maybe not the best weather, but just riding. I've been many
Mm-hmm.
nights in Utah, been many nights in Texas, long stretches of highway, nothing, and just look up at the moon, or I look over to my left or my right and see the um, oil wells burning off, and it's just, I've even stopped and just stood there and looked, and then too, even by the windmills, I've stopped and just heard the swoosh of the windmills. And
Mm.
kind of been like, this is therapy for me
Yeah.
But
because
see,
life.
yeah. No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. Go ahead.
But that's important. You need to find your thing, whatever that thing is.
Thing
For
is.
me, it was the mountains. The
Uh-huh.
mountains were just so therapeutic for me. I could literally, like KSolo just said, pull over and just sit there and just look at the mountains, because there was like layers of mountains. So you got the green ones, then you got the snow-capped ones behind there, and it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
that was my thing, and so find your thing, find
Yeah.
something that really does feel therapeutic. Like you said, the moonlight, you may want to gaze at the stars, or you may
Mm-hmm.
decide that you like the creek, that the river that runs alongside the road, where you like to look at the, you like to listen to the
Yep.
water, trickling down. Find it. I mean, you can just really get lost in the whole tranquility of it. It's amazing.
It's like it's therapy. It's like that's
Mhm.
instead of being on somebody's couch,
Yep.
your couch is on your bike, and just you and the wind and your music and your thoughts, and you talking with God, and you seeing the beauty of the world.
Yep.
Yes.
The scenery just just takes your breath away, and then you become grateful.
Yep. Absolutely.
OG Weasel, I'm not going to answer that question.
You know what, Weasel? Hush! Don't start nothing. There you go. Don't start nothing.
Can we
There
put
you
the
go.
disconnect button on him real quick?
Weasel had to come in the room and throw a firecracker, man.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Always start something.
Hey, my brother, it was good to see you this weekend, man. I really enjoyed the conversation that we had. You motivated me. You inspired me. I'm turning it up a notch, man. That conversation. From here on out, whatever y'all see, y'all gonna have to go up to Weasel and shake him and say, what did you say to that man, Weasel? What did you say to him? Because, I'm charged, man. I'm charged. And every now and then, that's what I love, running to cats that I ain't seen in a while, man. Just to hear them and say, hey, look, keep doing what you're doing, Solo. You're pushing. And I greatly appreciate it. And Don, this episode has been, I hope it's been what you wanted to get across
Yes.
to people, to inspire and to share your legacy and your journey, because the book says it. I mean, there it is right there. Self-love is the best love.
I just want to say, never give up.
Mhm.
Never think that what happened to you is the end of the road, the end of the world, because there's always going to be something bigger and better around the corner.
Right.
And I know that I have been through a lot, even more than what I've said in this last 60 minutes. But just keep striving, keep putting one foot in front of the other. Share your stories, because you don't know who it could inspire. You don't know who
That's true.
it could uplift. Again, I'm a very transparent person, and I truly
Yep.
believe that some of the situations that I've shared with others have really helped them get through a similar experience, like especially a motorcycle accident. I've had women reach out to me. I was in an accident and I read your story and you inspired me. And that's just a wonderful thing. If you can inspire one person,
Right.
you've done a good job.
You've
You done your job. And that's
You've
my
done your job.
motto. That's my
Yep.
motto.
You've done your job.
Aspire to inspire.
Yep.
Aspire
That
to
part.
inspire. And if you do that, you would definitely be legendary. That's all it is, folks. That's
Yeah.
all it is. Because
That's
I want
it.
to inspire you to get out there and ride, to see the country, to enjoy it, to meet new people, carry on a tradition and a legacy, leave something behind. Leave it better than what you found it.
That part.
Amen.
I want to leave this world empty.
Yeah, leave it all on the table. Leave it
All
all
of
on the table, man.
empty.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, Don, we truly appreciate you.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
You know, there's your girl. There's your girl.
There's your girl.
I love
There's
you,
your girl.
Tucson.
There's your girl. There's your girl.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna let you go ahead and kind of just exit with whatever you want to leave to the people, to the audience tonight. Don, the floor is yours.
I guess one thing that I did want to mention is, meet people where they're at. A lot of times, people that think that they're on a higher level may not be willing to meet somebody at their level. But my experience that I've had with, the mentorship and really being able to take somebody under my wing and watch them blossom into an amazing rider is a beautiful thing. And I feel like if you're not willing to meet somebody where they're at, you're going to miss out on an opportunity to really allow somebody to blossom into, a rider that they may want to be someday, but they don't know how to get there. And they just need that one little that one little push.
Yep.
So,
Mm-hmm.
just support wherever you can, and I think that's all I want to say.
Okay. Yep. Well, listen, we've thoroughly enjoyed you tonight. It was good to see you at the Men and Women Love to Ride event, and then for
Thank you.
Easy to get up there and acknowledge you in front of everybody.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah. That's amazing and that's awesome. And once again, I just want to thank you for coming on the show and reaching out and sharing your journeys and your legacy with us.
Thank
tonight.
you for having me. I appreciate it.
Indeed. All right. Well, we're gonna let you go, and we will definitely be in touch with you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
All
Thank you.
Thank you. Co-host, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I think that was really good expiring. Yeah, it's gonna help somebody. Gonna definitely help somebody.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted tonight to bring out of Dawn, to share her legacy, to inspire others through her trials and tribulations, her life journeys and experiences. I did not know she had 2 motorcycle accidents.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I mean, wow.
And still pushing. That's
pushing.
And still pushing.
Yes.
It's like find your passion. Find your passion.
Yep.
Her testimony is woo. You got to have a test, and God knows she's been tested.
Yes, she has. And folks, if you have enjoyed the show tonight, say great show, good show, thumbs up. Just leave a comment. We had about 50 people on one platform. We got about 20 people, 30 people on another platform. So we know we were broadcasting. We know we were getting it out there, folks. We definitely appreciate you tuning in.
Thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate it so much.
Yes.
Thank you all for your comments. I couldn't get to all of you, but what Desi, what you said about us keeping stuff in, that's real talk right there. Real talk. Hey GG. That's real talk. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
Okay. Well, all right, Royalty, I appreciate you. I would definitely be in touch with you soon. I would love to have you back on co-hosting with me because
thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. Talk to you later. All right.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night. Hey, folks, we had a great show tonight. I really enjoyed the show. I really love it when people share their journeys, their experiences, inspiration, inspiring, and all of that. Thank you, Sonny. You already know. Folks, it's been great. But before I get out of here, I would just like people to know that this weekend, I will be at, where will I be this weekend? Let me get rid of that right there. I will be in Upper Maryland with the Kingdom Knights bike lesson and their anniversary. There's the information right there. Make sure you tune in. Harley Davidson of Washington, D.C. And while I'm up there, I'm going to make sure I stop by and see one of my past guests. You need to come up there and meet him. We had a great episode. I'll be putting that episode. I'll be tagging it in the tagline. Folks, it's been great. I really enjoyed you tuning in tonight. I can say I'm a little under the weather, but I'm hanging in there. I'm a thorough flu. I'm going to pop another hot toddy, and I'm going to lay it down. But listen, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend about the podcast. I greatly appreciate it. And also stars. And also, if you want to donate to help keep the platform up and running, the Cash App is $ a solo moment. Make sure that you share, like, and subscribe. All right, folks, without further ado, I'm out of here. God bless you. Have a good night.